G'day friends, welcome to this planner flip. First of all, let me tell you how extra I am. I've put the inserts in this traveler's notebook, even though they have never been in here before. I did it just for the video. But that's because this leather traveler's notebook was handmade by Dion Carter, and she sent this to me with a massive packet of stuff to play with, and I'm talking like just everything you could ever dream of. Dion packaged that up and sent it to me with this first leather traveler's notebook, so I am so unbelievably thankful. You guys are way too good to me. I think about you guys all the time, and the amount of effort and love and everything that we all put together in this community, and what you give back to me is 20 times more than I ever give to you guys. So I don't know how I am so lucky. But I'm not going to do anything to jinx it. I'm just going to accept it. Thank you for all your love and support. And Dion, thank you so much for this gorgeous notebook. And I just wanted to show people because I'm super proud of it. So I think you should be super proud of it too. They handmade this. Can you believe that? I totally just put these in here so I could put this in the video because I'm so happy. Oh my goodness. You should see all the stuff that came with it too. All this happy mail. Dion's really trying to encourage me to become a planner, so girl, she got me. Alright, so we've got these two, what are they called? Planner inserts here. This one's a Jane Davenport mixed media one from the Butterfly book. So this is like a pre-made one, and this one I actually made myself. Wait, I think I'm lying. Did I make it? Yeah, I totally made this myself because that's sketch paper. Alright, so I'm going to flip this one first because it's a little more simple. This isn't a voiceover, I'm literally doing it real time, so these videos tend to be super long, so I'll just get to the main points. This is the Jane Davenport Mixed Media Butterfly book insert. I believe it's best suited for marker paper, but I've used ink on here, like a Sumai ink, just some washi tape. This is one of those printed, the printed calendar block photos. I think everything in here is black and white, if I'm not mistaken. This is a black and white journal, traveler's notebook insert, journal insert, butterfly book insert. It's just all black and white, and I don't think there's anything filled out in here. I had this idea that I would fully create and plan an insert, and then I would just come back and use it. So it's basically like I decorated it like how I'd want it to look. It's fun stuff. This gratuitous selfie that didn't need to be in there, but it's in there. And I used Jane's, what they call the butterfly book stencils, and I just traced through that and did some doodling in there. This is another one of those calendar block photos that I just gave a body to with a Pentel brush pen. So everything in here is just black and white. I feel like a lot of it's just ink and marker, some stickers. This was when I used the Epic pen, the Incredible pen the first time. I just smushed it out with water. Smushed it out with water? I just activated it with water. That's what I wanted to say, because I wanted to see what color that it kind of pulled out, and surprisingly enough, it's pretty gray and black. Usually, like when you pull out the color of a black, there'd be a lot of blue in there, maybe like it'd like have a purple to it when you'd pull it out, but this was interesting because it's more of like a really dark blue gray, so I liked that. She's also another one of these calendar things, a calendar block prints. I just gave her some extra eyelashes because I'll always add lash, and if there's a lash there, I'll probably add an extra lash. Here is another one of the calendar block prints, and I stenciled a feather with some black dilutions before it all dried out. Did I show you guys that in my video when my stupid self left them up against the window and with the jar kind of cracked open? Because I thought that would work. I guess I was just airing it out. But yeah, that's Dilutions paint there. So I like it because it's really rich black, and it's matte, so you can draw over the top of it really easily. Another one of the calendar block prints, just some stencils. I think a lot of this stuff, a lot of the doodling had to do with stencils, because don't forget, you can totally use stencils to sketch through, to draw with. They don't just have to be used for modeling paste and ink sprays and stuff. You can get your pen and pencil in there and skip a step, cut the corner. Just use that for your doodling. Here, another one of the calendar block prints, and I wanted to give her the massive dramatic ball gown ink skirt that, she kind of had in the original sketch, but it was like a T-length skirt. So I wanted to give this like really dramatic illusion. And for some reason I drew her hat on like real weird. I mean, her head wouldn't fit under there, so I should probably fix that one day. But, you know, when I come back to filling this out, another one of my tag team tags that I just altered and made her look like that instead. You know, you can see, if you really look closely, you can see her other eye under there. But you can, like I said before, I haven't done a digi-stamp kind of thing in a while, but you can draw over what's already there. If you've got stamps, you can use them as a base, a jump-off point, and draw over the top of them. Completely alter them and manipulate them. I love doing that. I think it's so much fun. Oh, picture of Lige. This is my nephew. This is my sister's little boy. Sweet and handsome and very naughty. This is him and his little baby. He's not a little baby anymore. He's trying to talk. His name's Elijah. So I love him. And this is a black and white photo we took just out the front of the house one day. I was babysitting him for like a year, just over a year, when I went home after my accident, and that's when he was kind of, you know, there and ready to be looked after. So I babysit him a lot when my sister went out to work. I babysit him with my auntie, and we just pretend like we knew what we were doing. He stayed alive, so it must have worked. All I know is I gave him lots of chocolates, and that was a bad thing to do, but I can't help myself. I'm not the parent. I don't have to discipline. I'm just there to give them chocolates and toys, so. That's little Lige. An ink brushstroke mermaid. This is really fun, because this is all just done with one ink, and just different amounts of water that I added to the inks to give it different tonal variations in the greys. And so I think that's really fun to do, and then I just pulled out some accents with a white gel pen. You don't need a lot of stuff to create interesting things. Having said that, I love a lot of stuff, so I'll use a lot of stuff to create anything. But you can totally do it on limited supplies. Like when you're traveling, you know, I'll probably just take ink and some, you know, important pens, a paint marker. Who am I kidding? I travel with my whole craft cart. Some more of the calendar block prints. This is straight up, I think I just copied, oh no. I just used the bits from Jane's stencil that actually comes with, my goodness, what does it come with? Do the stencils come in their own pack, or do they come with the butterfly book? I've completely forgotten. But either way, the stencils are fun. They're a good planner tool, I think, and a good way to skip some of the journaling like this. If you just want to make something look interesting, you can just totally use the stencil. You don't even have to try. Last page. Oh, there's a back page. Second last page. Stenciled some mermaid scales with the Dilutions paint again. I just love it. It's super matte, super black, so flat. Like, I mean, it's amazing. Some more of that incredible pen that I pulled out with water, because this print that I had in the calendar block, sometimes I won't check them because there's just so many. There's like 365 different photos. I couldn't check them all. And they cut off their heads, but inspiration struck, and I just gave them new heads up here. And I love this quote from Finding Nemo, fish are friends, not food, which was really funny because I had this one of Bianca over here, and she was supposed to say yum, but I obviously forgot to add that. So yeah, I'll add that when I come back and finish this journal. And just on the back, this was one antler from a moose. A moose? Is the moose with the antler? Something, a donkey, something. I think it's a moose or a reindeer. My goodness, it's a reindeer. A reindeer stencil I had. This was just one half of the antler. I thought it would make a nice headpiece for her. And funny side story, she's in one of my journals. This I actually drew on hold on the phone for like ages. It was ages on the phone, and I had a ballpoint pen that I was taking notes with when I was actually talking to the woman, when I was thankful enough and lucky enough to be able to be talking to the woman that I called for. You can tell I'm still angry that I was on hold for that long, but I actually came up with this. So, you know, silver linings. When you're on hold on television, on the phone, grab a pen and make something, because you'll maybe end up reinterpreting it 55,000 different ways, and it'll end up in a journal flip one day. I don't know. Second journal insert, or what am I calling it that? It's a traveler's notebook insert, but you know what? I've art journaled through them because I'm not a planner girl. I just can't get into it just yet. And I haven't really found other things to do with them other than plan or journal, because I think that's pretty much what I'm into right now, just minus the planning. So this one I just did with some Jane Davenport acrylics, and I used a lot of the, what's it called? The Incredible pen. I actually did all the details in and then pulled out some of that water once the acrylic was dry. Acrylic was dry. This is just some really gorgeous, like, oh, what was this? And there's some mermaid marker, and there's some ink in there, and this is a strip of paper that I had just laying around, and some washi tape. But some paint marker, I'm just going nuts here. It's just I think it's a really pretty image. I don't want to add anything else to it because I've always just enjoyed the way that this looks. Sometimes I think about writing like James's journal, but no, I don't really want to do anything to it. Look really pretty. Well, I think that looks pretty. If you don't, that's fine. Some of my handmade journal tapes, when I thought this might be one, it didn't end up being one, which is fine. Some more Jane washi. This is a part of that book that printed upside down and registered off wrong. So I cut up all of that and used that, which was great. And I just like her in there. I've always liked that color palette, that mint and blue, deep purples and deep blues. I'd say one of my favorite colors, other than, you know, bright red, because I'm an attention seeker. That's what my mum says. Other than bright red is a dark midnight blue, which is funny because Jane came out with this color, and I like to call it ink, even though I don't really know what that color is. Oh, because this one's ink. This here. This is one of my favorite colors. I love that. And that probably explains why the Daniel Smith tubes that I got Moonglow, Kyanite Genuine, and Payne's Grey. And they're all kind of like deep, dark, purpley blue, you know, just interesting colors. I just love that. Look at all this deep, dark blue here. I don't know why I love it. I had a fascination with the night sky when I was younger. Even though I hate space, I love the twinkling stars. So there you go. This was one of the... Okay, I just uploaded a Tag Tuesday that I just wasn't really happy with, and I was doing a lot of that matte medium with the serviettes. This is one of them, and I remembered enjoying it. I remembered doing it and thinking, yeah, that totally worked for me. Like, I enjoyed that. And this is what I totally thought all of my tags would look like. I just... You know, I wasn't in the right space to do it. So this is one of those Jane Davenport napkins, and I just did some stamping with some butterfly stamps and a dragonfly stamp, and just a lot of loose stuff. You know, the dragonfly I put on as like a bustier, and just gave her like a long neck and body, just made that hair come out with some Jane Davenport acrylics. This was actually done a while ago. This is when I first got sent all the Davenport design team stuff, and I was playing around with a lot of it, seeing if I could make it work the way I kind of thought it might work. So yeah, I'm pretty stoked with how this came out. I'm just kind of annoyed that I couldn't translate that into a Tag Tuesday for you, but you know, it was important to show that I did have a great struggle that day. So this is an awful unfinished page. Some little stickers that I got from Japan, just some little sticker photos that I got printed from the same place I get printed these calendar blocks, Social Print Studio. I'm always trying to hawk Social Print Studio, even though I don't get anything for it. I just love it. And this was an old... this tip-in bit was a cover of an old journal that I used to have, like a notebook. Is it a notebook? Kind of like a diary in Japan. So it's actually got my old Japanese address on it, which is cute. And it's a Christian Lacroix. Christian Lacroix diary, which I thought was always so bougie. But, you know, I'm into it. I used to love fashion. I still love fashion. I just don't wear it. And I think that's the thing too. I love fashion in the capacity that I love the fantasy, I love the illusion, and I love dressing women. I've never so much been into men's fashion, which I guess kind of is why I don't let that translate to my own wardrobe, even though I'm sure Steve would appreciate it. Yeah, I always kind of look like I'm wearing half sweatpants and a really colourful shirt. But yeah, Bianca washi tape. This was an old print that, you know, got stuffed up in the printer, but I thought, you know what, it's kind of like this monotone, like black-white thing going on. Some washi. I just tipped in a bunch of stuff. This was when I was doing all of these girls that like had inspired teacups, and this was ages ago. This was when I first got injured, I think, back in 2015. So she was like Indian with this full-on Indian headpiece and like a chai tea. And then she was the full hipster basic white girl. Like, she's got hashtag tights on, and she's got all these armbands with like social media logos and just like all the basicest stuff. And she's got a pumpkin spice latte in her drink. This one, oh, I forgot what this one was called. I think it was a Mohican Mocha. I don't know. I went and found like all these fancy drinks and just tried to make them come to life, and this was bubble tea, and she's my favorite. So I might revive her in some kind of way. I like her little face. I like her little headpiece and stuff. She might just be a cute little sticker. Ooh, good idea for an orange bag. All right, so leave that with me. Here's a print from the book. Just I use a photo reference to do some kind of like 20s, you know, feather fan moment. This was the backing of the Jane Davenport what are they called? Journal tapes. Once I'd used all the journal tapes, I pulled them off and put them here and stuck little Bianca ears on top. So it's an interesting little feature. You know, I probably wouldn't mess with that again because it's really hard to get them all straight. But sometimes I really do like to use the sticker backing because waste not, want not. This was one of the first things I created with the Jane Davenport stuff. I just wanted to bust out the mermaid markers and see what I could do with them. I had my carbon ink fountain pen, so it was pretty bulletproof. And yeah, that was the stencil from it. I just used some acrylics, just got some really nice blends of watercolor and mermaid marker. I just love all the pooling that's going on in here. And you just get right up in there. I mean, you can see that like just how the color separates, you know, and it feathers, and it's just amazing. I love that look. And I know a lot of people aren't into that. They like a very flat wash of color, but that's what I'm really into. It's probably why I love the Daniel Smith so much, because that's just super easy to granulate and color pool. Another page from the book that printed wrong. Another page from the book that printed wrong. I just cut up into a strip. This is just a sketch that I did ages ago, just for no reason, just because I had nothing to do that day. I mean, I'm sure I had plenty of things to do that day. I just decided to do this instead. And I like her. She's a little quirky. All the stars on her. Some Jane washi tape. Or journal tape, I should say. This was from a sketchbook that I pulled out because I liked this one in it. I actually made her a digi stamp, and she's up in the store too. I think she's got fairy wings on her. Maybe she's called, Farah, I think she's called. But this was the original sketch of that. And just playing with proportions and playing with profiles and seeing, you know, if I wanted to change stuff up. I'll go through moods when I draw people and faces, and I'll, you know, sometimes I want them all to look really, you know, whimsical and doe-like and have really wide set eyes and very structural faces, and then sometimes I just want them to look like a complete mess, really abstract, sometimes really cartoony. You know, it just changes. My mood changes all the time. I think that's why I like mixed media, because I don't have to stick to one thing. So here I've got a couple of tags that I just made little homes for. This was a tag sent to me by Carrie Scholes, which is just gorge. Be a Unicorn. She sent this with some happy mail, so that did make me happy. I know why they call it happy mail now. I'd never received any before I started this creative journey, and yeah, I've been missing out. Some of Jane's journal tape. I like this one with the bird. Some Tim Holtz paper pad, just distress inks in the background, and Tim Holtz washi tapes. Just gorgeous stuff here. Little Bianca journal tape down here. Bianca. I got this idea from Jane's washi tape. She's got those bodies that are like watercolor, but and I think it's a part of one of her classes, so I never really finished this, but this is are you right there? The cat's trying to climb up on me. This is Daniel Smith Moon Glow, and look at that. Like, what is that? I mean, it's so interesting. The color to me is just the way it separates the reds, the purples, the dark blues that are like kind of like a really, really super dark teal. I love it. I think it's gorgeous. And this was just sketch paper, so maybe that's how it got this reaction. A lot of stuff in mixed media is just trial and error, so I don't keep track of which papers I use for what. Sometimes I remember, sometimes I don't, so I'm sorry if there's something you enjoy and I can't give you the answer for it, but just experiment, just go nuts. Some Bianca journal tape, an old print of something I drew at Christmas. Oh, these are super old-fashioned sketches. This was when see their triangle bodies and kind of like triangle hips, and I mean, if you just add the tail on the end, it's kind of like the brushstroke mermaid tutorial. So I've always had this like foundation of drawing bodies a certain way, which can be very structural and very angular and very off-putting, because I mean, I guess they're very, very thin, but this has always been an aesthetic that I really, really love. So when I really, really want to draw a quick fashion sketch, this is how I do it. And these are from years ago. Like, I think I was still in high school when I did that. Some mermaid marker, some more Jane washi tape, and a paint marker, just playing with watercolor. And I don't know who she is, I don't know what her story is, but she's a nice summer color palette. A very obvious summer color palette, right? Reds, oranges, yellows. Here's one of the tag team, I think, originals. She looks like an original because she's drawn over a photocopy. And yeah, she's just really sketchy and just stuck her on the back. So a lot of this is unfinished. I don't even think there's any journaling in here. That's both of them have kind of no journaling in them, so I guess they're just ready-made inserts, ready to go, just to add final touches and to add some journaling, maybe add some days of the week, favorite quotes, I don't know, just add something in there. I've got to finish it somehow, and I can't keep adding pictures. So I hope you enjoyed that Traveler's Notebook insert flip. I've got these two. I know I just showed these in a Jet Pens haul, but I just started playing with them yesterday, and this is that Tomoe River paper. And you can see, I used Jane Davenport Bright's palette with this, but if you can see, when I blotted it out with a napkin, it actually retained the napkin print. So there's like a little diamond up there, all these little diamonds and dots. That was from the napkin. You can see where the napkin was folded, those lines there, like a cross. So I thought that was really, really interesting, because I haven't known watercolor to do that in any papers that I'd used before. I tried to do it here again, and you can see the dots, but I didn't get any of the diamonds. This is Daniel Smith. This is all that sparkle you can see is Kyanite Genuine. All this purple red stuff here is Moonglow, and then this color here, this like kind of flat looking deep blue grey, that's Payne's Grey. That's the new one that I got. So I'm really excited for these Traveler's Notebooks too. And you can see, look, this one is the one that it comes with. This is the Jane one. You can see it's smaller all around the dimensions, and it has rounder corners. And then this one here is the homemade one. I rounded the corners because I thought that's what all of them look like, because these were the only ones I knew before journaling, Traveler's Notebooks, became present in my life. And so I rounded those corners because I thought that was standard. And I like the look of rounded corners too, but you can see I'd also made this the same dimensions as that. So I'm not quite sure what the difference is in sizing. I hear a lot of like B6 Slim or like A5. I don't really know. All I know is they're just all Traveler's Notebook inserts to me. And these were like 003, 013 or something. So let me know if you guys understand all of that and have a really simple way to break it down for me. Just let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll see you flipping something another time. Let me know what you want me to flip. I've still got a bunch of art journals that I haven't fully flipped through, because I know I like tease it and I do like 10 at a time, but I can flip some of those another time. Anyway, have a good day. Bye!